Hi, it's you and Ellery here making bonsai in Australia, and in this video I'm doing an update on my Willow Leaf Ficuses. The first steps at turning this into a bonsai it was about 15 months ago now, so a bit over a year ago. So yeah, really just going to be doing a bit of a pruning on both of these. This one of which I put into this pot it was about 21 months ago, so just under 2 years ago since I repotted this one. So yeah, it's coming into winter now. There's not a lot I can do in terms of repotting bonsai or severe pruning and all of that. So all I'm going to be doing at this stage is just a general kind of prune on these branches, just a bit of refinement and making sure I've got the right branches to be working with. So this one here is actually, since I repotted it, because I pruned back such a large area, you can see a fair bit of dieback on that trunk there. So with time, that's going to become quite an interesting feature. And whilst I'd originally planned for that to be the front, it's now going to be this side of the pot. So I'll work on this one next, so I'm just going to put it to the side for the time being and jump onto this one. So I've really just got to initially have a look and see, just to make sure that I still have the same front essentially. So that was originally my front there, and yeah, I'm really going to keep that as my front, at least at this stage. And the main reason for that is just because you can kind of see the root structure spreading out on both sides. So there's this root back there, which you can see moving out, and then this root here doesn't get in the way of the trunk. So keep that as the front. And I'm just going to do a quick check because it's been about 2 years now since repotted this. Just wanted to make sure it wasn't root bound, but definitely isn't. Not sure about using this particular soil for my ficuses. I think in future, if I use it, I'm going to mix a lot more organic structure in it. But yeah, the last time I pruned this, I kind of only had a couple of small, fairly small shoots that were going up and around the place. So I'd wired a few down and kind of spread them out a fair bit just to give me a bit more options in the future. So I'm going to be getting rid of a couple of these branches that are coming out of this trunk. So there's one in the back, see it from that angle. It comes out this side, and that'd be useful if I was going with a different front, but as it comes out the back, don't need it. If I want any branches going out that direction, I can just get branches coming out that way from the leader at the time. More branches just coming out the back. There's these little tiny ones. So normally, through the growing season, all of those little small buds, because buds back a lot from the old wood on these. So all those small buds, as they come out, I'll just pinch them off, generally speaking, if they're in the wrong area. Right, so now I've got, there's branch here, there's a branch in the middle, and there's a branch over the top of this root. Now this root is also very thick, not similar to this one. So yeah, all the roots really don't, they're a bit oversized at the moment, so it's not very even in terms of the thickness of the branches versus the roots. And typically with when you have aerial roots on ficuses, so because these get really thick, pull bigger into the tree, you can get situations where the thickness of the root coming into the tree, it'll actually create inverse taper. So the trunk below where that root merges is going to be thinner. Now that's normally a bit of a problem depending on whether you do or do not like aerial roots, but given that this root is actually coming in fairly high up the trunk, which is actually where I want to get a lot more thickness, to get a bit more natural taper, I'm just going to start really just refining, cutting off a lot of these smaller branches in here that are going in the wrong areas. So this one's just heading side. So I'm going to leave some of these branches that are kind of shooting out in different positions where I don't have others, but there's a lot of just noise branches that are moving in towards another branch, for instance. So yeah, ultimately what I want is a lot more vigor in the tops of these branches as opposed to all clustered down the bottom. And what I might do, so you can see with this center branch, at this point here, kind of splits into two. So you've got this branch which comes up there, and then you've got that branch which kind of comes out a little bit towards this one. So what I'm actually going to do is cut off that whole section. Yeah, so quite a lot cut off there. The main reason for that is, so yeah, that was all moving in here, so just creating noise. I want to have, you know, a bit of visible space in between those two branches. But also keeping that just creates a little bit more movement in this part of what's going to be the leader now. Just prune back some of these branches. That one's heading straight out, so I'll just prune it back a little. Just a bit of directional pruning, and I'll keep the top sections of that foliage. So I think I'm actually going to keep this for now. It's coming out nice and horizontally, so yeah, it's in a good position for me to potentially let that grow and fill out back here a bit more. So I'll leave that for now. So this branch here, now I've got this leader that's coming up, and it's starting to get some nice ramification on that, but it kind of comes out and then up and then kind of straight up. And what I'm thinking, I might keep the movement of the trunk where it comes out, up, and then starts going out a bit further. Just keeps, again, a bit more separation between these two trunks. Just a nice movement, heading out this way, and then it can, you know, do its thing out there. This branch here, after this point, it's kind of dropping down, so just bring that back. That one's coming out probably a bit out of profile, so just prune it back slightly, and the rest of that I can probably leave. Looks quite good there. Yeah, it's pretty good in profile, and I want to leave some leaves there. And now we've got very hefty portion on this left hand side. And again, I've got a bit of a scenario where the main part of this trunk is actually it's kind of coming straight up again, which is kind of how I'd wired it early days, you know, just to get movement out and then up. But as I want these to get a lot thicker, I think I want the trunk further out. So this portion here that's kind of coming back and in, again, I'm going to cut that all off. Yeah, there's a part there where there was, you can still kind of see in there's a lot of branches that are all coming from the same area. So, get rid of some of these. That one was partially cut off by the original prune. Just tidying up. Tidy that stump back a bit more. There's a bunch of branches here at the back. They're all heading out this way, which, similar to this one here, that's a decent location. I kind of want some back here to fill out this area. But what's happening is this branch is coming out, and then they're all kind of shooting back jagward. It's kind of like inwards. So I want branches that more kind of naturally move out from the tree, as opposed to having this, it's almost like a 90-degree angle cut back in like a dog leg. So get rid of these, just for more outward flowing branches. Just going to get rid of most of these small branches. They're all leaving from this juncture because I don't want inverse taper, which I think was already starting to form slightly. So there's a bigger slightly bigger branch section that's coming out that way, so I'm going to keep that as the main part. I keep that as the main part, kind of moving out this way, and then possibly even this branch to move out forward. yeah. So pruning off of that section just so that it's a little bit more even. The taper in the trunks, use that to thicken up here, move out this way, rather than having that all the same thickness and then all the branching coming from here. Just create a bit more kind of movement. Still a branch off there which I might keep. So in terms of kind of a profile, just prune this back slightly. Prune this back. It's also quite a severe cut there. Should survive, but just having this part down here, it's a bit of extra insurance. And again, just up here, there are multiple trunks, or little branches coming out from the same location. So I might keep a couple of them. Keep this one which is kind of coming up, which may end up being a new leader, and then this one which is flaring out a bit more, and just cut it all a bit more into profile. Not really anything fancy whatsoever with this. Look, it's not in any real shape. There's big open areas. However, it's starting to slowly get there. So all of these branches down here used to be about as thick as this part of this branch. So yeah, it's slowly getting a lot more thickness, and it will start to kind of even out and get some nice taper there with time. So yeah, fairly happy with where that's going. And you can see there, just there, the stump which is healing up quite nicely actually from where it had been pruned back from the previous air layering. That's that one done for now. Still a lot of growing to go. Yeah, really want to get a lot of thickness in all three of these primary branches, but yeah, very keen to see how it develops over the next couple of years. So I'll put this aside and start to work on the next. Okay, so this one, because yeah, the stump where it's been cut back has really rotted away, and I've gotten in there previously and kind of chewed it back a little bit, not with my teeth obviously, but yeah, so because that's rotted back and whittled away, there's already a lot more natural taper in this trunk, so yeah, a lot more happy with where this is at present. Again though, I'm still going to focus on trying to develop a bit more natural taper and better positioning of some of these branches. Now I do have, in terms of the root structure, there's a little bit of an imperfection there with, well, a fairly decent, significant imperfection there with having this root being crossed by this other one. I'm going to leave that for now. I'm not doing any root pruning, but that's something I may have to address the next time I repot this. Could be, kind of an interesting feature, but it is a bit of a blemish, so we'll have to see. Now, I believe that this one I was growing as just a clip and grow bonsai, so where the other one I'd used some wire. I haven't actually used any wire for this one. So I could start using some wire and just kind of try to wire some of these branches down, but I think I'm just going to maintain the clip and grow approach. Fairly happy with a lot of these branches and kind of how they're structured at the moment anyway. So what I might actually do, I will address these ones, just getting rid of this one which is kind of coming up a bit too much. I want this branch to kind of float out, similar to the last one, float out from the other trunk, just so that there's no clutter there. And again, another one of these branches at the end here that's heading up. So prune that back and keep all these branches that are flaying out. Yeah, hopefully develop more of a branching pad out here with time. Little branch that's going up, get rid of that. And I'll just prune top of this branch off. Again, yeah, just to keep the branches that are kind of flaying out more horizontally given it's a clip and grow structure, I'm just going to keep the ones that are in those good locations or better locations. So in terms of the main leader, so this one towards the back here, so if you see at the back, that's this one just here. So kind of, yeah, it's very far at the back, so looking at a bonsai from the front, you kind of want the main leader to kind of move towards you a little bit, which this one doesn't. But there's the other one coming out of that branch, which kind of comes out to the side, comes further towards you, but out to the side a little bit, which is not ideal. I don't want this one that's coming a bit to the side coming too far out. Again, we'll clash with that one, so I'm going to prune it back. Some of the smaller branches coming off it a little bit lower down the trunk. So yeah, it kind of keeps that first initial part, which is kind of moving back towards the front of the tree, but then yeah, a few smaller branches that are kept here, which are hopefully going to grow into better kind of positioning for this to be the true leader. Just pruning back slightly, as I don't want inverse taper. Just where there's a lot of branches coming from the same. And this branch down the bottom which is coming inwards completely, get rid of that. Right, so yeah, starting to look a lot better there, and a bit more open, which is always nice. Now this primary leader, it's kind of coming out, this at the top kind of splits into three, one of which comes back really far, so just get rid of that one. In the front here, I'm just going to start getting rid of some of these branches that are coming off it, which kind of poke out a little bit too much into the center and obstructing the view of main branches. And just cut it back, it's coming out quite far in front, so just cut it back. And this branch is kind of heading downwards a little bit too much. And this branch is kind of coming back, even though this is a branch that's heading out forwards, so cut that. Loosely in a bit of a profile, just really pruning it back significantly. So look, I hope you enjoyed this video or took something from it. If you have, then please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so that you're notified with my future videos as I release them. But look, thanks for your time today. Enjoy. Bye.